Our next speaker, Fred Jones, will be introduced by Carnell Smith.
Thank you. Dr. Fred Jones is a U.S. Supreme Court attorney. In 2010, he was the personal attorney for his uncle Otis McDonald in a Second Amendment landmark case where there were more amicus briefs filed by U.S. legislators in both parties. There have been more of them filed in the history of the United States. Fred is the author of An Act of Bravery, Otis McDonald, and the Second Amendment. However, Fred's proudest moment is that he got custody of his two sons in his divorce and raised them to adulthood. His driving force was to pursue custody to be like his dad that stayed married to his mom for 67 years. And he is the publisher of Father's Voice Publishing Company, the author of 5 books. The star book is About My Father's Business, the wisdom of Moses Jones he dedicated to his dad. He's a speaker and a life coach. He is the professor of law and ethics for many years at Kennesaw State University. He is the chair of the Division of Human Behavior. He's the chair of quality enhancement for Sachs. He teaches criminal law, civil law, and he is an intellectual property junkie. And if you will help me welcome to the stage my dear friend who will speak about the DNA of a champion, how to win as a father, Dr. Fred Jones.
Wow. That's all I know to say is wow. Paul, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Carnell, thank you. The way I got here is my commitment was to Carnell. I was going to come and just carry his bags. That's the truth. I came to help Carnell, after we heard about the opposition and everything. And so I said, man, you don't need to go by yourself. I said, let me go with you. So then someone got hold of my resume and read my website and decided that they wanted me to be here. I actually have notes somewhere. Thank you. Men, I want you to do something for me. And I want you to do it intentionally. I want you to take a moment and give yourselves a hand clap, men and women all together, okay? Let's just give ourselves some kisses. This journey is not easy, but we can win. Go with me for a moment. It was May 8th, 1991. I got up that morning, got ready to go to law school to take my family law final exam. Came home after taking the final exam, and my wife at that time had packed up her stuff, and she was gone for a trip to New Orleans. And I didn't know where she was for the entire weekend. That was on a Friday. Sunday comes along, that's Mother's Day. We had 2 boys at the time, young boys, elementary and middle school, and the rest unfolds from there. I want to talk to you about the DNA of a champion. The title is How to Win as a Father, but it's How to Win as Men. When that thing unfolded, something just came to me. I knew about our system in Louisiana, in America, America leads the world for incarceration, period. We lead the world for incarceration. We're number 17 on education. 17, but incarceration. So I knew that those two boys, if they were going to have any, let me put it like I really felt it. If they were going to have a snowball's chance in hell, I knew I needed to do something. And sure enough, the wheels began moving. How to win as a champ? How to win as a champion? I'm going to try to bring my B speech today. I'm going to be sincere, be brief, and be seated. And I'm going to try not to use all this time that they've given me, okay? So y'all go ahead and loosen up a little bit, and then we'll get this done. So here's the problem. I knew the jail system, cultural bias. That's what you put me down for, cultural bias. Come on. I have to dress up to go through Mississippi. And that's no joke still. I mean, I wear a coat and tie. That's my uniform just regularly all the time. You know, I need to look like some, you know, because if I just go casual, it just, you know, that's just whatever. You know what I mean? All right, okay. Let me get going. All right, okay, because we'll do this now. Let's go. The problem, custody, divorce. I'll make it real easy. I didn't know what I was doing when the mom left and the family didn't make it. Now, I'm not blaming her or none of that, okay? I'm done with all that. She was a smart mother. She and I agreed, and she allowed me to rear the boys from elementary, middle school, all the way to adulthood. And I had the privilege of raising my boys because I wanted to be like Daddy. And Dad, when growing up as a boy, Dad, I remember one thing Daddy said. I remember a lot that Daddy said, but this is one. I'll go through fire for my children. Mose Jones classic. And he lived it. 14 of us, 9 girls, 5 boys. All of us graduated from high school. 11 of us got college education. Mom and Dad. Dad had an 8th grade education. Mom had a 3rd grade education. So they completed high school all together. That's 12 years. But I was in Atlanta, sitting on at 832 Powers Ferry Road, trying to decide if Rose going to get the boys or if I'm going to get the boys. And she'd already said I could raise them. And I was trying to make that decision. And I remember talking to a lawyer. And I was thinking, do I follow my career now and let her have the boys, or do I get them? And I remember Joe Flemings, a lawyer, she said, Fred, what are you going to do? Just let your boys go? Or are you going to take them or get them? Or are you just going to let them go? And sure enough, we agreed, and I got the boys. There are 3 things I want y'all to keep in mind. I'm just here to encourage everybody today. 3 things to keep in mind for the DNA of a champion. Number 1, you got to know your cause. Have a good cause. All the lawyers in here, you know, in order to bring a case, you got to have a cause of action. And every one of you here because we got a cause. And that cause is our family. That cause is our children. And that cause is what drives you. I'm reminded of a story when the Israelites were fighting the Philistines and David's family was out there at battle. You remember that little story? He said, is there not a what? A cause, okay? The cause is what wakes us up in the morning. The cause is what puts us to sleep at night. So when I write books just for hobby. It's fun. I like to write them to tribute people about my father's business, The Wisdom of Mose Jones. That's the first book I wrote. I wrote it so fast. I wrote it in about 3 years. It took me a while to get it all together, but to get it printed, my whole family was coming to Atlanta, and the person I was working with hadn't done anything with the material that I had given them. And 2 weeks before my 14 sisters and mom and dad come to Atlanta, I had nothing to present. And I found this online company. I learned publishing in 2006. Okay? I had a cause. You follow what I'm saying? I had something to drive me. Okay? The cause is key. Number 2, courage. Now, I know we hear all about courage. Be strong of a good courage, okay? I'm going to turn to 2010 now, when I went to the United States Supreme Court. Otis McDonald. Anybody ever heard that name? Oh, really? Okay, a few. Otis McDonald. Any gun rights people here? All the gun rights people know Otis McDonald, okay? Chicago and the whole 9 yards. Uncle Otis used to have a saying. I went just to help him. I'm a helper. Otis had a saying. His saying was, if you haven't found something you'll die for, you have not yet lived. So for me, my family is worth dying for. I heard one of the speakers say, you take away a man's family and everything else about it is just down. I want to encourage you, those of you who are in the trenches going through legal stuff, keep the courage. You follow me? Just stay there, keep the courage. And that's what I did in rearing the boys, okay? And then I made the comment about Dad saying if you hadn't found something, Dad said he'd go through fire for his children. Now, my story of raising my 2 boys, it wasn't easy. I mean, when I went through my divorce in Louisiana, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Well, I didn't have any family in Atlanta. I had nobody to help me, nobody to support me. And I had never prayed and looked for resources so hard. And then one of my cousins came and stayed with me for a couple of months in Atlanta and Marietta. And that's when I kind of got my feet moving under me. And me and the boys, we survived. It was some tough years, but we survived. But the thing I enjoy about it right now is one of my favorite Twitter followers is who? One of my sons, you see. And one of my other ones, he's a creative, gifted type. He's still working on his story. You follow what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah, he's still working on it. He's still pulling it together. Okay. I've been with him. You know, the thing about that one, and I'll just kind of keep, I know we got videos and cameras, so I'll just keep it like that one and talk about the 2 in general, because none of this is private. I'm a lawyer now. I realize everything is pretty much public. But I remember the darkest day in that one's life was when he went to jail down in New Orleans. And I'm like, Lord have mercy, New Orleans jail. Anybody know anything about New Orleans jails? I mean, some of the worst in the world. You don't want to go to jail in New Orleans, okay? And then I'm up in Ohio someplace, and I got a phone call from one of the other persons in the jail telling me about my son, saying that he needed help, and they picking on it. And you have to know this one, he's kind of small and kind of cute and good looking, you know what I mean? You know what they do with, okay, hello. I didn't sleep well that night. But finally, I figured, you know, I had to kind of let him go. But I made my way to New Orleans, and they got him moved, to make a long story short. But the thing about that son is, I found out at one point that he was, what do you call it, bipolar? And man, oh man, you know, that was the ride. That was the ride. I mean, just going through all of that with him and hanging in there with him. And I'm glad to say I hadn't heard any bad news here lately. You follow what I'm saying? He's still staying positive, and I'm very thankful for that. So, an act of bravery, and that courage right here. Family right here was the cause. Courage right there. Family is also a big cause for me. As I said earlier, family and friends united. I got all 14 of my sisters and brothers to come together with me, ride to Atlanta, Georgia last year to produce a CD of songs and stories about our mom and dad, and then we sit around and tell jokes. And I did all of that without a contract, without a fight, and of course I had to pay for it all, but it's my product. But we all did it together. Isn't that phenomenal? 14 sisters and brothers came together to do that, okay? Now, I want to close by talking about, my final point is commitment, okay? Staying committed. This kind of movement here, we need to all stay committed, okay? I want to encourage y'all to dig in deeper than you never. Matter of fact, I've done a lot of events and stuff, and I do stuff. I'm a pioneer. I do stuff by myself the first time. I don't wait for permission or nothing. And I have a lot of admiration in my heart for anybody that puts something together for the first time. Hello, somebody. Come on, do a little better than that. Come on. Okay, my time is probably up because people generally are negative and they're critical. They always want to complain and whine. Just be positive and be thankful. Amen, huh? And the woman that saved my life when I was a little boy, Mabel Thomas, she said, Fred Jones, if you're an embarrassment to the Jones family name. That was when I was in 8th grade. I wrote a book on her because it changed my life when she told me that, okay? So the DNA of a champion is you got to have a good cause, you got to keep the courage, and you got to stay committed to your goal, to your passion. And to this day, I'm excited about my 2 boys. One of them, the one in Texas, he's got a no complain campaign. You know, no complain campaign. And he all over Facebook, everything, no complain campaign. He wanted to keep it positive. If any of y'all want to stay in touch with me, I'm on Twitter at Fred Jones Speaks. Fred Jones Speaks. You can find me on Facebook at Fred Jones Speaks as well. I just want to commend you all and tell you to keep the faith, keep on doing what you're doing. This is an awesome work, and I pray God's blessings upon it for a long time.